is your ultimate goal to just kind of, spread this mission and build up
Absolutely.
this business?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It's just the ultimate goal is, yes, to spread the knowledge throughout so many people, because, it's a huge world. So as much people as I can spread the word out to, the better. And it's not for me, it's literally for them, because most people, they awaken something once they consume juices like that, or they're not used to it. And then something awakens in them that they're just like, oh my God, I can't believe I've been missing out on this the whole time. Something so simple that I could even whip up, in the morning. So it's just getting that out there and kind of just, like planting that seed, you know what I mean? Planting that seed in their head and just being like, what if I actually do stick to the most natural side and kind of leave that over-the-counter medication or that supplement or that dependable, So it's like the ultimate goal is to spread the knowledge and just let people know that, everything is found in fruits, veggies, herbs.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Unleashing Truth. I'm your host, Michael Stephen, and today I'm very excited to bring a new guest named Julio Devia. Julio, very happy to have you on. Came across you through a friend, and I see you're doing a lot of great things in the nutrition business. And why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're about?
Good afternoon, Michael. So my name is Julio Devia. And my business, I do have a juice business. So it's called Devias Naturaw. And I actually love to just get the content out there, tell people that pretty much the V that you're missing in your life is literally all in one bottle. So any sickness that you're going through, any support in your immune system, you can find it all in fruits and veggies and natural herbs. So that's literally what I try to get out there in the world. And if I can do it one person at a time, I don't mind. But it's literally doing juices, and I do work a 9 to 5 at the same time. So from doing a 9 to 5 and then solely focusing on that business as well, it's just something that's been driving me forward ever since. So just keeping it rolling.
That's awesome. Now, let's get into the juices themselves, because I'm intrigued. Personal story. I do remember a friendly acquaintance of mine back in college. He would make vegetable, he would blend vegetables together and use the blender. And I was all about, at that point in my life, drinking and hey, let's get this, that. And he's like, hey, can you get me some vegetables when you go get some food? I'm like, we're getting burgers and fries. What do you want? Give me some vegetables so I can put it in a blender. So. Yeah. What specific recipes do you have in these juices?
So that does depend. So the thing that separates me from most, let's say juice companies or juice stores or any juice houses in general, is I actually like to ask further questions to the customer, to the consumer. So for example, let's say you're coming to me to get a juice and I'm just like, oh, okay, what's the sole purpose of it? Oh no, I just want a juice. Well, what are you looking to get out of the juice? Are you looking to lose weight? Are you looking to detox your whole system itself? Are you having problems with digestion? I start to ask those deep questions, because a lot of people think that, oh, I'm just going to drink this juice. It's going to do me good. I'm going to see the effects of it really quickly. Doesn't always work that way. It's just, you definitely got to know what you're allergic to, what you're trying to look for, because when you're doing detoxes, it depends on what you're trying to detox. So greens are good for let's say vitamin C, antioxidants as well. Berries also include a lot of antioxidants. So if you mix certain fruit with certain veggies, it creates a super combo. And depending on how your body takes it or how it consumes it, if you're not used to it, it will definitely send you to the bathroom either way, whether it's through your mouth or through the other part. But it definitely depends on how you're consuming it. If you're used to eating burgers all day and you've never had a juice cleanse in your life, it's going to definitely take a toll. And most people, what I've actually realized with the business is most people who have different portions throughout the day, like heavy portions, and just don't really control their amount of intake with food, and they do the juice cleanse and they're still eating food like that, it doesn't affect them until next week. So it's weird, because when you're doing a 3-day cleanse, it's really like you're doing a 6-day cleanse. So it starts to tackle it like, let's say, a week after or a few days after. It's not always that same day. And a lot of people get confused about that, and they're just like, oh, it didn't work. I actually had a client too where she was taking the juices, and then she was just like, oh, it's not working. I'm not feeling anything. Maybe it's what I'm eating, or maybe it's like too clogged up. I'm not sure. Literally, I told her, I was just like, wait until the 5th day. I think you might feel something the 5th day. Literally the 5th day in the very morning, completely went to the bathroom.
Wow.
And it's like, it's interesting telling these stories, but it's this common thing that we always go through. Every single person does it. So.
Yeah. So, no, that's a great story. Let's backtrack, because I have so many questions. I have like 3 or 4 questions already. I pulled up your mission statement here. So
okay.
let's see. Your goal is to be perceived as one of the most healthy, delicious, and nutritional juice businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And your mission is to provide a healthy, tasty, satisfying experience with 100% natural fruit and veggie juice. You serve the most nutritional juices to our health-conscious consumers with high-quality products, and you're hoping to be the change we seek in the world. So my first question, because I have several, how long have you been at this?
How long have I been at the business?
Yep.
Officially, I believe it's 2.5 years, if I'm not mistaken. So going for 3.
Wow. That's great. So that explains why you can kind of see the future when it comes to, certain customers.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So my next question is, so do you offer these juices to people who are looking to do a certain cleanse, or just to like have on an everyday basis?
It really depends. So if a customer is really looking for something, for example, I'll use another client. It was a lady, and she had problems with arthritis and like high blood pressure. So those were like really special juices that I solely focused on. I asked, what you're allergic to, what you're really looking for. She wanted to detox. She wanted to take care of her arthritis. She wanted to take care of her like high blood pressure levels. So when it's a customer like that, you really want to focus more on detail of what fruits and veggies you're including in there, because some fruits and veggies are stronger than others. But if you're looking to just have a juice every day, you have to watch out with certain fruits and veggies, because you can't take certain fruits and veggies every day, because it'll definitely have an impact on your body. Now, if you're looking to detox, it really depends, because you could detox with berries. That's a lot of antioxidants that just get rid of toxins in your body. If you're looking to do like a green juice cleanse, which is the most popular one, it's for your skin, it's for intake on vitamins and minerals. It really does go a long way, but it really depends. If I can recommend something to everyone, is always at least drink 32 ounces of juice of fruits and veggies, but like natural juice a day. If you can do that, you'll see a lot of benefits, a lot of improvement.
All right. So I just had Julio turn his phone around so we can get more of his excellent backyard there. So now you recommend everyone has 32 ounces of this per day. So that could supplement your food. Or you have certain cleanses, and it seemed like you said like 3, 5, 7 day ballpark. Is that?
What I totally focus on is trying to maintain a 6-day cleanse. So for 6 days. But mostly, like my recommendation also is, if you can intake, because I do a 6-day process. So for people who are used to consuming my juices already, or if they're just taking juices in naturally every single day, they can take 2 a day. Because most people, if they're not used to it and they take 2 a day, it's going to have a heavy impact on their body. So just to have like a smooth detox, definitely 1 per day if you're just starting.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Now, I assume that these are all types of people that you could help, whether you're looking to lose weight, you're looking to just help your immune system, your body. You said even your skin, which I find interesting. So do you have different recipes for what the goals that people have? Like what if someone wanted to, hey, I want to put on 10 pounds of muscle the next year. How can I integrate juices into that? Do you do that as well?
Yeah, it's funny you actually mentioned that because I had a client that was looking to get more protein intake and they wanted to get a little bit more bulkier. So I did things that are high in protein. Obviously, you're not going to get as much protein with fruits and veggies. Maybe with certain foods like broccoli or like tempeh or like certain like grains or legumes. That, yeah, but you can't include that in a actual juice. You can, but it'll become a smoothie, you know? So the texture will definitely change. But if you're looking more for protein, especially with vegetables, it will have to be definitely beets. Beets is like the number one power source for protein intake. Why? Because it opens up your blood, like your blood vessels, and it allows more circulation. So when you have more circulation, it allows recovery for your body as well. So when you're doing like a heavy workout and you just need that juice to go to, if you can solely just drink like, I'll do a power combo here. It'll be like beets, watermelon, and a lime. If you do that right after a workout, you'll be pretty much golden.
Really?
You'll feel like you'll feel like such a calm, soothing recovery that you'll want to do it again, like literally like 2 hours later. Huh. So I do that, for example, when I'm working out legs at the gym, I'll literally have my beet and watermelon. Sometimes I'll add like the lime or lemon, whatever I have available, I'll add it. And if I don't, just the watermelon and the beets is completely fine. The taste is a little bit bitter, but it's sweet at the same time because I'm used to it. But the people who haven't consumed beets, they might find it a little bit, like earthy, like that earthy taste, because it is coming from a root, but it's really good. It's really good.
I'll be honest with you. I've never had beets in my entire life. So I don't know why, but probably not, they're not selling it at every, not selling it on billboard signs and everything. So no, I definitely want to give that a shot, for sure.
Right.
So it seems like you can tailor it. I'm curious, how does it help your skin? Because that's something I used to have skin problems when I was younger. And then, there'd be medicine for it. But now as I'm getting older, I realize like, hey, a lot of these things that we've paid money for, I'm looking for more natural solutions. I feel like there's more natural solutions to a lot of issues in this world.
Absolutely.
So how do your juices and food in general, you think, impact your skin?
So we'll start with the juices. The juices definitely, like if you're consuming green juices, that's the majority of clear skin is either in green juices or orange juices. So anything that's fully packed with vitamin C, that will definitely improve your skin. The only reason it does is because it gets rid of all those toxins. It's like, it's adding to your immune system, so it's supporting that immune system. It's giving you like a boost, like a complete boost. So when you're intaking these greens and just in veggies and fruits in general, when you're doing that, it's causing such a cleanse to your body that it's, it's like absorbing the nutrients from the fruit and the veggies. So when you're consuming it in juice, you're getting all that extracted content from it. So once you do that, you're not going to see it. Like, let's say you drink one juice in one day. You're not going to see it in one day. You got to do it like for maybe like a week, maybe 2 weeks, just keep it consecutive. And remember, 3 weeks, it does become a habit. So once your body gets used to it and adapts to it, you're going to start seeing remarkable changes. I know when I first started getting into, like, let's say the vegan lifestyle, the first week, I literally noticed the first change because I didn't have like bad acne, but I did have stuff from time to time. And with the workouts, since I was doing workouts, I was taking whatever protein I could get my hands on, and my food portions were out of control. I wanted to build more mass. I thought more food was more, so you get those misconceptions. And once you start eating at a disorder and you don't have control, you don't have balance, that's when acne starts to come in. And if you don't, it's like you're adding stress to your body and you're shocking it consecutively. And you're not allowing it to recover from previous energy that's stored in your body. You know what I mean? So when people are doing juice cleanses or they're taking their greens in, it's literally supplementing the breakfast idea. So that now you're not taking any breakfast, like let's say an omelet or like bread or something so heavy, because you're still, it's so many topics that I'm going to get into, but pretty much like you're fasting. When you're fasting and you consume like a green juice or any type of veggie juice, it replenishes you enough for lunch, like around lunchtime. And around lunchtime, that's when you start to kind of feel the hunger. But as far as the green juices, to stay on the same topic, if you're looking for clearer skin, you definitely have to watch out for lactic, like dairy products. Because dairy products definitely add a lot of acne because it's full of bacteria.
Does that include eggs?
Oh, absolutely. Eggs is probably a lot more bacteria than dairy.
Because there's so many, I've seen so many very intelligent people disagree on eggs. And it's funny. It's like maybe from a nutritional standpoint, there's an argument both ways, but I don't know. I mean, I've noticed that I've eaten more eggs lately than I ever have. And it's like, I feel like I get a random, zit somewhere like more often in a while. And I'm like, is there some kind of correlation here? I'm trying to figure it out.
I can't think off the top of my head what that word is, but there's so much bacteria in one egg that it's not meant for your body to consume it. Like, it's like you can consume it, you can take it, whatever the case may be, but once it's in there, it's going to start messing up everything. It's like adding, like, let's take, for example, a car, and you're adding something that does not go. Let's say you're adding water instead of gas to the car.
Right.
It's going to still run for a few moments, but after a while, it's going to start having all these types of problems. It's the same thing with the skin. It could go smoothly, but then after a couple of days, after a couple of hours, you start to feel itch. You'll start to have some sort of rash, just because it's literally reacting and burning and just causing so much stress to the body at the same time. It's strange.
All right. Yeah. So now a couple places I want to keep going. So fasting, you brought that up. So I've kind of learned fasting myself in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Right now, I basically do a schedule where I eat in like 8-hour windows, 6 days a week.
Okay.
So like a 16-8, 17-7 type of thing, where those other hours I'm just having plain black coffee or water, which I supplement with my friend Kyle Newell, who owns a gym. I've actually talked with him on this platform as well. And, we drink this thing called the juice, where it's water, pink sea salt, new salt, and baking soda. And it's like natural electrolytes. Keeps your energy level up, your potassium, your sodium, like a natural Gatorade, so to speak. But then one day a week, so that's what kind of keeps me, energized, and my body feels great. And then one day a week, I don't eat at all. So imagine going like 16-8, and then one day you just skip that one day. So it's really 40 hours. And sometimes I, mess around and I end up getting real hungry, like 34, 35 hours in, because I'm probably just mad about something else. So I'm like, all right, I just need to eat, I'm like, I've done enough here, but other times I'll go to 48, 49, 50 hours, and I will be able to go play sports at a high level, and I'll have like kinetic energy, and I can't shut up even more than usual. It's like I got all this energy. That works for me, I guess. So, but also it's like, I don't feel like I'm at a better place now than I was 6 to 12 months ago. And I think it's because of what I'm eating when I eat. And so my question for you is number one, does the juices keep you in a fasted state? I assume not. I assume like it would leave. Well, would it or no?
Honestly, yes and no. So it's a huge debate, but pretty much the way that I'm used to fasting, like what you're doing is great. It's amazing. Most people can't even do that. But if you're at that level, I would say try to keep it consistent though. Try to keep it consistent. And then after a while, once you've created such like a routine, like cycle with yourself just naturally, that's when you can start switching it up and kind of shocking your body. Because if you're shocking it from every now and then, it's not getting used to like that fasting state.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So for example, let's say you wake up and you don't eat anything until like 2 o'clock every day. And then one day you just don't eat anything in general. And then you just start eating at 10 o'clock at night. It's just definitely going to take a toll on your body. So if you can keep it consecutive until 2 o'clock every single day, and then maybe one day switch to like 1 or 1:30, that's reasonable. But if you're doing like a whole day, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to start like, you have to be definitely mentally strong, because it's going to attack your mental state. It's definitely going to take you to the point where it's just like, I can go without eating still, but do I really want to, go with the challenge and just keep going? or should I eat? Cause maybe I'll get sick. And, it'll start working. Like your mind will literally start working. And that's, they say that that's correlated to sitting in a sauna or drinking. So pretty much when you're drinking alcohol, you know how you get hot and you kind of get into like a desperate state? That's what fasting does. And that's what sitting in a sauna does too. So most people who go to saunas and just stay there for like 30 minutes, 15 minutes, they're actually doing such a beneficial thing to their body and just their state of mind in general too. Because it gets them into like a desperate state where they're now in control. Because it like builds up to it. And then once it passes it, you can control anything. And that's literally the same thing with fasting. So if you're fasting in the morning and then don't eat until like, let's say until 2, and then from 2 to 7 or 2 to 6:30 is your window of eating. And then after that, you just don't eat anything until the following day. You're literally working off that energy that you're storing in there. The whole morning you're working off that energy. And then once 2 o'clock hits, your body already knows, all right, I got to eat something until like, 6 o'clock, 6:30. So if you keep it consecutive clean like that, you should be fine.
So
and it'll be a lot easier.
So does the juice raise your insulin? Because
the juice,
technically, if it does, you're out of a fasted state, right?
Honestly, yes, because it's like consuming an apple, and an apple is considered breakfast. So technically, yeah, it does kind of mess up the fasting. But at the same time, if you get into, because it depends on how you're consuming the fruit and the veggies. If you're consuming it in the juice, if you're consuming it in a smoothie, depends on the texture of it too. Because if it's smooth, like if you're doing it through a cold press juicer and it's smooth and it has no, no pulp or anything like that, that's something that you could definitely intake while you're fasting and kind of correlate it to your routine. But if you're doing like a smoothie and you're just blending it up in like a blender and you're just consuming all that pulp, that's definitely going to mess up your fasting completely.
Right.
Because it's definitely going to sit there. It's going to take longer to process. It's going to take longer to break down. So it's funny, but it really depends on how you're consuming it. But yes, it does kind of mess up the fast.
Yeah. Cause I'm trying to like troubleshoot myself and my personal eating and workout habits. And then when everyone watches this, they can kind of correlate it to how it fits them. So,
what I've been doing, cause I told you I work at a 9 to 5, but what I've been doing in the morning recently is I wake up, first thing I do is drink 64 ounces of water. Literally just start chugging water away. And then
I have 32. I'm halfway there.
Yeah. 32 is amazing. That's a great start. And if you can keep it like that, keep going, but as long as you're refreshing your organs first thing in the morning, that's going to get you through the day. And then after you refresh and after it gets like everywhere it has to go, that's when you start to think, okay, should I eat breakfast? Should I fast? Or should I drink a juice? So what I've been doing is I drink the water. I give myself like an hour after I drink that water, go to the bathroom, do whatever I got to do. And after that, that's when I consume a green juice. It's either green or orange. The reason I say that is because it's vitamin C or it's, water-based fruits and veggies. So for example, if I'm doing like a green juice, I'll add watermelon to it. And you could drink that every morning. But it's just natural sugars that are going to get you through the day. Watermelon fills you up because it's so full it's full of water. So, it's like 80% water in the fruit. So once you're doing that and you're intaking that, it's going to hold you off until like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, sometimes 4. So that's how you can kind of, I guess improve your fasting, because now you have something in your stomach, but technically you don't. It's like mind-boggling your body, and it's like manipulating it in a way. So it's like you get to trick it. You kind of get to beat the system.
Right.
So there's certain fruit veggies or certain juices that you can definitely correlate with your fasting. But obviously you're breaking that fast because you're consuming those fruits and veggies. But it does have a good benefit to it. That's what I've been doing. So I've been doing green juices. Let's say it's cucumber, an apple, like a green apple. Then it'll be, what is it? Cabbage, red cabbage, and watermelon.
Yeah. So
I know it's kind of gross, but
no, listen, a lot of our theories are aligned here. It's just there's always, and sometimes there's no right and wrong. There's,
right.
Two things can work at the same time. It's just whatever you believe in. Because again, even when my first meals of the day are usually fruit. I've learned that that's very healthy, and it does, there's times where if I just go, 20 hours without eating and I go to a steak dinner and you'd think I'd be hungry, but as soon as I start eating, like I'm full. Right, but if I have fruit a few hours earlier, fruit and maybe some bone broth. I guess that's divisive. Some people agree with that, some people don't. But either way, have some fruit, and then I go to that same steak dinner. I'm starving.
Right.
I've troubleshooted this, so I've experimented, and I'm like, okay, I think that having the fruit opens up like the stretch receptors in your stomach, and it's a good way to break like your fast. And I think that's why some people do have fruit for breakfast, and it sounds like you kind of have this smooth fruit veggie combo. So you have your water. Hey, is it cold water or warm water? Does it matter?
Room temperature.
Room temperature. Okay.
I'll tell you, just because you just touched that topic, is cold water is not the good thing. It's not a good thing at all.
Really?
And I'm literally going to correlate it to the same example that I used before, like the car. So it's like, imagine your car is just like overheated. You've been driving for like 3 hours, and then out of nowhere, you just put something cold into it. It's going to literally steam up, like let's say on the engine. On the engine, you're just pouring like water on there or something like that. It's literally going to steam up because it's so hot. That's how our body temperature is. So if you're in the morning, if you're just getting out of bed and you're drinking cold water, it's going to cause so much trouble to your digestive system, to your flow, like your blood flow, everything. Because it's like, it's going to shock. Yeah. So that's why, I don't know if you've seen, for example, I used to work at this Chinese restaurant. And I would always see, it was family owned. So I would always see like the whole family just drinking those like plastic containers, the 32 ounces, filled with hot water, like boiling water, and just drinking it. Nothing in it. Maybe they'll add like a grape or like 2 or 3 fruits and just drink it, like an infused hot water. And they would be active. They would be good. They wouldn't have any problems with nothing. Like, and then I asked them, I was just like, what's the benefit of it? And then I Googled it. I don't remember all the specifics, but it has so many beneficial, like, examples, like for your body itself. It has so many good things. For example, it improves digestion. It's beyond measure. Like if you really Google it, you'll see all the benefits for it. It improves your mood. It doesn't, I don't know. It has so many things. Wow. It's hard for me. It's not like, it's like on the tip of my tongue, but I can't get it out.
Yeah.
But if you can really room temperature water or boiling hot water rather than cold water, you'll see a major change. It's weird, but major change.
See, I was told a lot of things back in the day that aren't necessarily the best advice. One of them was, you got to have, 2 bottles of cold water and you'll automatically lose calories because your body goes into shock and has to get rid of it or something.
Yeah, maybe a cold shower, but not like no, definitely not consuming it.
Yeah. Okay.
There could be controversial, ideas in there, but no, definitely not. If you research and you do your studies, it actually, it shocks the body to a point where it starts to develop difficulties. Let's say with your blood circulation, your digestive system as well, your immune system too. Because you're at it. Think about it this way, you're making your body stress out more because now it has to work up with that cold water that you just took, and make it warm enough for your body to actually get used to it. You know what I mean? Right. Okay. So it's working 10 times, double. It's working double the amount of times that it should, which could be controversial because then people say, well, isn't that a good thing because you're making your body run? It is, but at the same time, it's not. Because it is if you're looking for the idea of it to like burn something, but you're really burning your insides as well. Yeah. Well, listen, one of the things that I feel like represents me, one of my personal mottos is that, hey, intelligent people disagree all the time. I'm very philosophical when it comes to that. One of my goals of this podcast is to interview people like yourself to bring who are experts in their fields. They're passionate and they're living their dream. They're bringing something new and unique. But one of my other missions concurrently is that I want to talk about serious topics. One's more serious than this, but serious. What's more serious than your personal health? That's paramount, right? So, and again, there's going to be dissenting views. I want my next interview to be with someone who, agrees partly with you, but then disagrees because maybe he can learn something from you and you can learn something from him or her, vice versa. Like that's what I'm striving to do because
that's the way we all get smarter, right? We all learn from each other. And, you know, the caffeine's kicking in right now. I can tell by the way I'm talking.
Right.
So I'm trying to get my daily schedule down here. All right. So now 64 ounces of water. That's interesting. Yep. I switched from cold to warm because I decided that it was easier to drink the warmer one, the room temperature one, quicker.
Yeah.
Because it is. Yep. Because to your point, it was like my body didn't want all that cold water. It really didn't. And it wasn't like I was being a wuss or something. It just, my body was just like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was like a stress response or something.
Outside. Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah. So,
but, daily schedule. So since you like fasting and everything, I would say definitely drink. You can stick to the 32 and just gradually, you know, get to that point of 64. But if you want to try the 64, you're going to be bloated a little bit, but you also have to be careful with your electrolytes. So me, I'm used to intaking almost like 2 gallons of water a day, but then I also correlate it with exercise. I'm also consuming fruit. Like for example, I have this is like 32 ounces. I already drank a little bit and I've had like 3 or 4 of these. So, you know, most people only have like 1 or maybe have like half of that. So as long as you're correlating, and remember, everything in this life, I'll say it like this, is about balance. So you have to make sure you're balancing everything out. So if you're consuming water, you got to make sure you're going to the bathroom, getting rid of that water as well, and then consuming, you know, the essential nutrients that your body's asking for too. Because, for example, something can do me good, but for example, it can maybe have a toll on your body because we're not the same. You know, like right. Your body's not the same. Mine. It really depends. It really depends. But for your daily schedule, I would definitely recommend drinking water. And then give it like an hour. After you drink water, give it an hour. So, you know, you can recuperate, kind of wake up, and then feed off of your own natural energy. So once you're feeding off of your own natural energy, that's when you can consume something like fruit and veggies, because that will definitely kick in. And it'll make you feel, it's weird that I'm saying this, but it'll make you feel more alive. Like, you know, like your brain is oxygenated and you just start feeling just vibrant.
That's really
like
weird.
The fruit itself.
I was about to say what, more alive? Yeah, because it's
literally. Yeah.
And it all it's such a balancing act though, because you know, I have friends, we talk about these things, and you know, we all have our flaws in terms of our, you know, our health. Yeah. We all like to have our cheat meals, some more than others. While staying in shape. It's almost like a point of pride to me. It's like, I can eat these s'mores every night, but I still look pretty good. Like I'm always, I got to like get out of that mindset. But I guess if you're not working out, you know, then the food you eat doesn't affect you the same. If you're not running, if you're not playing sports, it doesn't affect you the same. So at the same time, if you're playing too much sports and not eating enough or having enough water, that's not good for you either. So like you said, it is a balance. And I think, okay, so 64, let's go with 48. You know what? Some days I really do have 64 ounces of water. I haven't thought about whether some days I just see like these water bottles. I'm like, you know, my house is pretty clean usually, but sometimes I just see the water bottle. Like, get down all the water. Yeah. So you have, okay. So let's just say 3 to 4 water bottles in the morning. You do not have caffeine? Or do you have caffeine?
You know what? It really depends. I'm steering away from caffeine now. So for example, I don't know if you know this trick, but I was doing this, I was trying to lose, more weight, like burn more fat. And a way that you can do that is actually consuming coffee, but it has to be a cup of boiling water. And then obviously instant coffee, you take 1 tablespoon of instant coffee and you add like maybe a little pinch of like cinnamon. And then you add half of a juice of lime or lemon, whichever one you have. You add it in there, you stir it. It's not tastes great, but if you're like a coffee drinker who drinks just black coffee, you're going to be used to it. It's just going to have like that acidic taste because of the lemon. Yeah. But you do that and it literally removes toxins. It sends you to the bathroom. It gives you that energy that you're looking for. But at the end of the day, once you start doing it too consecutively, it's going to impact your body in a way that it's going to be too much, you know? So you got to do it for like a certain amount of time and then kind of steer away from it. So I did it for like about a month. I lost like 15 pounds.
Really?
And it really, if you're keeping it consecutive, because remember, you can do that, but then if you eat whatever comes to mind throughout the day, it's not going to affect you at all. But if you're keeping it consistent, watching your portions, watching what you eat, drinking the right juices, drinking enough water, then definitely, you'll definitely see the results as quick as possible. And it's so natural that you're going to think, oh, but I don't think it's going to work. I think it's fake. No, if you really keep consecutive every morning, and it's like supporting your immune system with the apple cider vinegar. Remember? That was like really popular back then.
Yes.
A lot of people steered away from it. People who actually keep doing it, and they cycle throughout, because you do it for like a month and you stop doing it for like a couple, back to it. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. But you get used to it. A lot of people don't like black coffee, but they do it for a certain amount of time, and then they actually enjoy the natural taste of black coffee.
I don't enjoy it. I just deal with it. Yeah.
Just gulp it down.
Nice and slow. It's an acquired taste. Yeah.
Yeah. But my point was also, if you're consuming black coffee every morning, it's acidic. So it's going to do you good for like the first hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe your whole morning. But after it's like that withdrawal symptom. Once that caffeine's out, you're going to feel like, all sluggish, and you're going to need more. And then it starts becoming more addicting. That's why coffee is so addicting, because it's caffeine. Caffeine's always addicting, no matter what, sugar, anything. So once you start drinking coffee every single time, you're going to depend on it. So then once you start depending on it, that's a problem.
What about espresso? Same thing.
You have espresso?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually worse. So it's stronger. So the only reason I say it's worse and it's too acidic is because it has an impact on your liver. So once you're like stressing your liver out to the point where it's too much acidic content, you definitely want to steer away and kind of give yourself a little detox here and there. So right now, what I'm doing is I steered away from coffee completely, and what I'm doing is just drinking water in the morning, and then having like this juice in the morning, and just feeding off of that. So then once 2 o'clock or 2:30, maybe 3 o'clock, once that hits, now I'm craving something to eat. But if I really want to kind of be disobedient and kind of have my breakfast, what my breakfast is? It's tofu and tempeh, right, along with, like onions, garlic, and some peppers, whatever you can chop up. But if you do that and you kind of keep it that simple, you're getting your essential amino acids too, because tofu has 9 essential amino acids. So if you're really like into working out and want to steer away from those supplements, that's one way that you can do it.
Okay.
There's a lot. There's like, I mentioned something and I steer away completely.
No, that's how it goes. It's free flowing. So I'm thinking, all right, so I'm getting there. I got the morning down. So that's the thing. I cheat a little bit with my fasting. All right. I fast, but the other juice, my buddy, Newell Strength, that's okay. That keeps you in a fasted state, but espresso and black coffee, I'm cheating a little bit. I mean, there's a few calories in there, and I'm probably hurting a true fasted state.
Well, yeah.
So, and I think that's why I, haven't achieved the results that I want. And I need a brand new lifting plan that I'm gonna get on. So I think, and it's hard. Like you got to really, like you're right. You got to stick to it. You got to do the same thing every day, and it does take. Like even just a few years ago, I guess like there's certain little things in life that you learn, and you're like, wait, I didn't know that. It's like I would go plan to play basketball, and I'm like, I'm gonna go have 2 bananas. And someone told me, they're like, yo, you're not going to digest that and use that for a long time, for a few hours down the road. You're going to use what you have in your body from before. I was like, oh, really? I never thought of it that way. I thought I just put it in there. But, so little things like that. So if I have a few bottles of room temperature water in the morning, and then I had, let's say, a juice or like your version of like a more natural coffee, then I would want to have, fruits and vegetables, which I believe, are very healthy for us. Some people disagree on fruit. There are people who disagree on fruit, but the majority seem to think that fruit is good for you. And I personally believe that things that come from the earth are good for you. So I will have my fruit, and let's just say I had a juice or fruits and vegetables. How do I get my, if I want to keep getting stronger, how do I get my protein in? How do I get my protein in on a daily basis without, so you are vegan, you said, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How would I? So like, this is what I personally do. I'll have beans, oatmeal, and then I'll have, chicken, steak, and also some salmon and shrimp. So a lot of the good thing about seafood is that it's lower calorie, a little more lean. But, I do also believe, and I've heard from very intelligent sources, that meat inflames your digestive system. And as great as it tastes sometimes, I definitely do feel that. So I want to get your take on, number one, vegan versus my, half vegan, half carnivore diet. And and number two, how you would eat if you want to, maintain a very strong physique while putting on muscle.
So in this case, the vegan versus, obviously a lot of people are going to have a lot to say on, vegan versus carnivore or whatever, but I try to keep it as simple as possible. And in this case, I'll just relay it with just one quick saying that I always go to is when you're eating meat and you're eating, no matter if it's 100% grass fed, 100% natural, or like the cage free eggs or whatever, right? So whenever it says something like that, it's still dead, So when you're consuming something that's dead, how do you think what the outcome is going to be? You're going to feel sluggish. You're going to feel dead. You're not going to have that motivation. Most people say, oh yeah, but I eat raw meat and I feel amazing. You have no idea what you're doing to your body when you're eating like that raw meat. They say it's good and like the research, but you can't believe everything you see online. You definitely can't. And as far as the meat itself, you don't know what that animal had. You don't know how many things they injected into it. It's not like before. Like times before, okay, I can maybe see it. But nowadays, everything's so modern, I feel like it's not even actual animal at this point, because they add so much to it. But in this case, I would say the difference between what a vegan eats, like what I consume, for example, is stuff that makes you feel alive, stuff that's just grown from the earth, So for example, a lot of people think it's just salad, not. And we actually have a variety of dishes that we can kind of make in the kitchen rather than someone who makes just like chicken or resorts to seafood and stuff like that too. By the way, I have a lot to say about seafood, but I'll get there. But in this case, for example, what I eat, what I kind of resort to the most is legumes, red kidney beans, black beans. There's chickpeas, there's lentils. If you're really looking for protein, stick to lentils and chickpeas. They have a lot of protein. Tofu has a good amount of protein, mushrooms, and this is bizarre, but nuts and seeds in your smoothies or just naturally taken will definitely have a lot of protein, more than what you would eat in like a steak or, certain things like that as well. Huh. And it's crazy because it's so tiny. For example, chia seeds too, they're packed with protein, they're packed with omega-3s. So if you're really looking for omega-3s, but you eat a lot of seafood, you can start switching out into flax seeds, chia seeds. There's certain type of seeds that really cover everything that you would take in like a small little dish that you're so used to eating, like steak or chicken or turkey, salmon, codfish, I don't know, anything. It really does replace everything. And we actually have more protein in so many small things. For example, nuts, seeds, fruits, veggies, legumes mostly, and then grains such as quinoa. So quinoa is packed with protein too. So take it this way, if you're adding that natural protein, let's say quinoa, I'll put a simple dish for you. Quinoa, sweet potatoes, broccoli, tempeh, tofu, mushrooms, and let's say you want to throw some red kidney beans in there, or chickpeas or lentils. Let's say lentils. You throw that there, you're getting so much protein, more than what you would consume in let's say a steak, rice, and potatoes.
You're getting 50, 75 grams right there? Something like that?
Or the dish that I mentioned before with the sweet potato? Yeah, literally. And it's so easy to get to that point, and it's natural too. So
it goes down better.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're working out, you feel the effect of it. You're working off of that nutrient rather than, for example, I'll put it this way. I have so many examples, but I'll put it this way. When you're eating 100 grams of steak versus 100 grams of broccoli, what do you think has more protein?
Steak.
That's a question.
Yeah.
The steak? So that's actually wrong.
Really?
So in this case, Yeah, 100 grams of steak, depending on which one, obviously, but let's put it like as a broad example. 100 grams of steak has 4 grams of protein, and then it has obviously the fat and whatever goes as follows. The broccoli has 11 grams of protein and 100 grams of serving. So right then and there, you're already getting more protein than the steak, and it fills up your stomach. So what I want to say with that is when you're eating steak and you're eating all these red meats and stuff like that, it's acidic, number one. And number two, it just, imagine this is your stomach, this size right here. The steak is going to sit all the way down here, and you're still going to feel like you got to stuff your face, or you're going to feel kind of like, inflamed, like you said as well, because it's so acidic. But when you're eating the broccoli, it literally fills up the whole space, so you're full. So a lot of people, they can't eat like a whole plate of broccoli. Why? Because it fills them up quicker. So that's one way that it I don't know how to describe it, but it just like, it fills your stomach up to the point where you really don't need to rely on anything else through that moment. So you're controlling your portion. It naturally controls your portions for you.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out your math. I was like, wait, how is it steak have less? But it's because, steaks are bigger, so you get more protein. But if you actually look at the grams of each one, it's just like you don't eat broccoli in bulk like that. But maybe I should.
Another thing too.
Yeah.
No, and the amount of times that you do it, both. You have to chew both a good amount of times for it to digest well. But especially with broccoli and stuff like that, like the green vegetables, you definitely got to make sure you're chewing accordingly. And they actually say that every little bite, you know how many times you're supposed to chew? Technically, like 34 times. So imagine picturing that. Let's say you're eating an apple. When you're eating an apple, imagine how many bites you got to take out of that apple, and then every single bite you got to do like 34 bites before you can swallow it. Imagine that's actually taking it serious, but that's a different level because a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah, that's.
But if you're making your stomach work, you're tricking it. So once again, you're beating the system. That makes sense.
No, I'm learning too much. My brain's on overload. What do you think about oatmeal?
Oatmeal's good. It's good, but to a certain extent. Once again, balance. So you can't have oatmeal every second of the day, but you can have it. Let's say, I don't recommend it too much in the morning. I would recommend it maybe like afternoonish to night.
I have it at night, like midnight oats. So I'll have like natural oatmeal, heavy in protein, then I'll throw some raisins and blueberries. Yeah. And
that's good.
Almond milk or I'll put water, one of the two.
If you drink it with water instead of milk, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
But you also gotta make sure that the consistency of the oatmeal, it's not too thick. Because as it's that thick, it will literally stick to the intestines of your wall. Like the wall intestines, sorry. Yeah. It'll literally stick to your wall intestines, and you'll start to get like constipated. That's why too much oatmeal is not too great for you as well. So if you're eating it at a certain amount of time, or let's say you really want to kind of like clear out your intestines and you haven't had oatmeal in a while, that's when it will be good for you.
Yeah, I have it like once a day, like at night.
If you really want to try something new for your body, especially because once again, it depends if you're really fasting, if you're not fasting, if you're going to take it to the point where you really want to be determined to fast, I won't recommend it. But there's most people that do overnight oats packed with protein. Like vegans that I know, they pack that, like they pack it with chia seeds. They throw some nuts on there. Yeah. They throw their own protein powder, like, the vegan protein powder. Yeah. They throw some supplements in there too. It's weird. Like the combinations are bizarre, but when they consume that, it covers them the whole morning. And if they're doing a workout early in the morning, it has a lot of benefits to it. And it's natural. It's that clean source of protein. So it really depends. But remember, you don't want to take too much oatmeal. So it's good. At the end of the day, it's good.
But good oatmeal, not like the ones in packets, I assume.
Yeah. The natural, like the more natural the oatmeal is, the better. So not the packets that they serve with like the cinnamon flavored and no, stay away from that.
They taste so good though. I put some natural. I'll put some natural cinnamons and some berries.
You know what I do when I'm oatmeal, and I haven't eaten it in like probably close to a year, if I'm being honest. But when I used to eat oatmeal, I'll do water with the oatmeal. I'll keep it until like a kind of liquidy. I don't like it too thick, but like to that point where it starts to develop that thickness. And then I'll add a cinnamon stick to it. Not cinnamon powder, cinnamon stick. And the way that it kind of releases the flavor of the cinnamon stick, it's different. But then I'll chop up some banana and I start to overload it with fruit.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, throw nuts and seeds into it. Like, for example, if it's at night and I really want to just consume it, like let's say I'm going to bed at like, 7. Well, I'm starting to eat my last meal at like 7:30. I'll eat the oatmeal because it's light, it's nice, it fills you up. But when you're doing like, let's say pistachios, it has a lot of melatonin. So it's actually packed with melatonin. So people who are eating those gummies with melatonin, stick to pistachios. Get like a handful of pistachios and you'll fall right asleep.
Yeah. That's the thing with nuts.
Yeah, but you gotta have
a handful, not a, carton full like I do.
You cannot have a, and if you're buying nuts and seeds, keep it unsalted. Try and keep it as raw as you can. There's people who kind of like go really into it and start baking it to get like that shell off or whatever. It really depends on how deep you want to go with that. But
yeah. So you would have, So if I went on this plan, I have a lot to change up, and I got to finish out all the food I already bought since prices are going up. I gotta make sure I don't waste my food. But so this is something that's going to be in the future, maybe in like a month or so. Yeah. So I'm thinking, what about beans? Beans are good, right? In beans are really, like black beans, less flavor.
They're depending on how you use them. For example, like for me, if I really want to do like a barbecue and stuff like that, I'll make beans. I'll eat the plate of beans with like quinoa or potatoes or whatever I have handy. I'll eat that, and then the remains of it, like the leftover, I can literally whip it up in the food processor and just kind of blend it with oats. So you can blend it with oats. You can blend it with like dried lentils too. It really depends, but it's so versatile. You can make burgers out of it. You can make the little patties. Well, those are the burgers. You can make anything, literally anything. So actually, it's interesting. So the pulp from the juices, for example, if I'm doing like a beet juice, the pulp from that juice of the beets, I take that beet and I put it in with like lentils and I put it in with like the beans, and you can make like those black bean burgers. You can make that. As natural. So it's interesting. It's really interesting. But beans in general, yes, they're really good. And they're packed with so many nutrients, protein, fiber, everything you can think of.
Stuff from the earth.
So I definitely, if you can steer into the idea of consuming more legumes in general, I definitely recommend it. And if you're looking for protein intake, like, if you're looking to do like for your physique, definitely lentils and chickpeas. They're packed with protein. And tofu. If you can add tofu in there, you'll be good.
All right. Now, what else was I going to ask you? I think that makes sense. So really, if I was to, because I definitely want to try your juices. I'm very excited. And considering they taste good, and I'm used to my black coffee, and I'm sure it'll taste much better than that.
You should try, if you're really, I don't know are you like huge coffee drinker?
So good question. And I meant to say it earlier. I had one of those, cheap coffee makers, and then I would get the grounds from ShopRite, and I would mix it in. And what happened was it was so efficient that I ended up drinking like, I don't know, 40 to 60 ounces of black coffee. Yeah. That's
a lot.
A lot, because it was just like, hey, the whole thing was there and it kept me up. Yeah. And then after a while I noticed, I was like, it doesn't feel right. Like it's like I'm doing something to my insides here. And eventually, I got a fancy coffee maker, which I'm probably not going to use as much anymore because I got it as a present. And
right.
But then I was like, okay, this is good. Now it costs me like $1 a pod, so I'm not going to just abuse that because it adds up quick. So now I only have like 16 ounces of coffee a day. So I scaled it back.
Recommend.
And
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a positive, but I really want to try I might try your technique, and I've definitely heard of lemon as well, like a lemon with the water. So it seems like that's a good combo. And then, because I like the water in the morning, I like your coffee idea, and then I would like to not have any more coffee because it is hard to go to bed sometimes when you have caffeine later in the day.
Too much caffeine. if you're really looking to consume coffee but kind of leave it at the same time, there's one thing that I do that actually I've been doing recently, and since I've been leaving it day by day, it's really interesting because the way that I consume it, a lot of people don't consume it. So I actually get the coffee beans, and there's a lot of things that I wanted to say while you were explaining that. For example, the pods, remember, they're filled with plastic. So it's like you're burning with the hot water that's going through it. You're getting the residue of that plastic as well. So you're consuming plastic at the same time. Make sense?
I'm returning it.
So in this case, I really don't recommend those like little pods. If you can steer away from it and just keep it as natural as possible, better. And also instant coffee, I do not recommend at all. Remember, this is my personal intake on it, but if you really do your research and you start to like investigate a little bit more, you'll see why I say it. But in this case, instant coffee can be mixed with anything and you won't know what's in it because it's instant coffee. It's like in powder, it's like not powder, but it's grinded up. You have no idea what they grinded up into it. It could be like the most filthiest thing, but the color of it's always going to remain the same. And they're just going to be like, oh, it's just mixed, it's mixed instant coffee. You're never going to know what's in it. And there's a comparison that I saw a few days ago. It was on social media. I forgot what it was, where it was, but it was a video of a comparison between instant coffee and then actual beans. And then when they grind up the beans and then the difference between the instant coffee that they sell versus the grinded up beans that were freshly grinded. Completely different. But if you can get like one of those coffee grinders and buy actual whole beans, you'll start to see like a huge difference in your intake of coffee. For example, the way I drink coffee is I have these whole beans. I forgot where I bought them, where I purchased them, but they're Colombian whole beans. And I would put it in like the little coffee grinder, and then I would add star anise and a cinnamon stick to it. And it's just like the taste is phenomenal. I think it's amazing. And it doesn't make me want to crave more and more and more. Because it's like as soon as I drink like that portion, like let's say like 12 ounces of that, it's so strong that I don't want anymore. It just leaves me like contempt.
Where do you get these cinnamon sticks?
Just like, I get them at this supermarket that's literally close to my house. Right. But it comes like a bag. They're just cinnamon sticks. Just I don't know. All right. You can get them anywhere, but yeah, as long as they're not mixed with like anywhere or anything, it's just natural cinnamon sticks. That's it.
What's your take on working out as it relates to eating? Like, do you work out, right before you eat or right after you eat, or like, what's your schedule like?
Honestly, for me, you're asking me like personally?
Yeah, you personally, yeah.
So for me, I was actually doing in the morning. So I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, because that's the time my gym opens up. I would wake up at 4, probably get to the gym around like 4:15, and I wouldn't have anything. Just water in the morning, the regular intake. I'll probably have 32 when I'm at home, and then, the remaining 32 while I'm at the gym, and probably even more because, I'll gulp down more water while I'm working out. Right. But I've noticed that workout in the morning, it's working off the same energy that you had the previous night, your last meal. So when you're doing that, it's really nice because you're working off that natural just drive. But then rather when you're consuming food in general, it's gonna hold you back a little bit because now you're gonna be full. You're just not gonna be able to explode as much. But it really depends on what you're eating as well. Because maybe some things, like for example, if you're drinking like a beet juice and you take that as like your meal replacement and you just pack it with beets, watermelon, and stuff that are really good for your blood circulation, you're gonna perform well in the gym. If you're eating like clean protein, for example, lentils right before the gym, you're gonna perform well, but you're probably gonna have like heartburn.
So right before it'll hit you that quick, it won't like. Do you think it's better? Like, have you measured your strength, like how much you can lift on certain days? Like if you have, because I'm always toying with it, and I'm not, and I haven't reached a conclusion yet, but I'm kind of like, days where I eat, from 3 to 5, and then I go work out at 8 o'clock. I just know, maybe it's mental, but I have more carbs and protein and everything in my system. But then I've also got up early in the morning after having a good, eating well the night before, and I still have all that food in my system, have the water, I hydrated myself, and I could still kill it in the morning. But I haven't done like a super compare contrast. Have you noticed any difference?
Honestly, yeah, I have. So in the morning, let's say if I'm going in the morning, there's a certain amount of strength that I develop in the morning, given off the previous energy from the food that I ate last night. And it's like, I guess it's more natural in the sense of, you're not really relying on something early in the morning, just water and the previous meal that you had the previous night. So it's like your natural strength, if that makes sense. But then when you're going in the afternoon with food already in your system, it's like your mind, mentally, you're always thinking, oh, since I have food in here, I'm probably a little bit stronger. And you start to feel like you can lift more. At the end of the day, it's all mental. But yes, food does help a little bit. But you're not going to perform as well as let's say burning a lot of fat. You can't, because you're going to feel full and you feel like you're going to throw up. So that's the bad thing about consuming food before you work out. But yeah, it does have a toll where it'll help you maybe in strength lift a little bit more. And also you're going to be consumed, so you're not going to have like that headache. Because remember, when you're fasting in the morning, you're not eating anything and you're just going straight to the gym, you're giving your body like dopamine. Right in the very beginning of the start of the day, you're giving just full.
And your
dopamine,
body's not processing food, and you're not, and your mind and your body are not having to worry about having to process the food. You're not digesting the food, so while you might actually be a little, have more stuff to work with, you're not using your fat stores as much. So, I think all things considered, if you look at building strength, but also using fat and having a good physique, I do think lifting in a fasted state is the best approach. It's
way better. One thing that I was doing before too is I would like my heaviest workout or my most intense workout, I'll do it in the morning. And then let's say I didn't get to the cardio part, or I got to the cardio part, but I wanted to do more, I would stick to that at night. But obviously before going, I would probably have like oatmeal or like maybe like juice or something. That's different, because you're not going to be lifting. You're not going to over excessively kind of force I don't know. It's really weird to say it out loud, but you're not really forcing your body to like lift that weight. Because when you're doing that, you're holding your breath, you're kind of like building up air. It's weird. But once when you're doing cardio, you're just kind of letting loose, doing it smoothly to like your own comfort, and you're burning whatever food that you intook as lunch or dinner. You're just kind of burning it slowly, but not too intensely. So then when you're going to sleep, it's like your muscles are going to recover, depending on what you're consuming afterward too. Like if you're consuming water, if you're consuming amino acids, so it really depends. But I don't recommend the amino acids. Right. I recommend it.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, on the fasted state is way better. It's way better.
Yeah. So last thing I want to kind of delve into, because I think I got the general idea of your juice, and it seems like a great thing. It seems like we might have to, I feel like I need to have some of these at some point after I have a couple of trips coming up. But after that, in July, I might meet up with you, try these things, and then we can meet again. And I can kind of, we can kind of just talk out more specifics, because I feel like you could talk about this for all day. I could tell, which I think is great.
Yeah, it's weird because once I touch on one subject, another one pops into my head. It's like so many things pop into my head that I want to get out, but then I have to like take and just like calm down. I'm just like, relax.
That's great though, because you have the energy. Yeah, and you have the energy. To your point, you got that natural energy. So I think it's awesome that how old are you?
24.
You're 24. I think it's awesome that you are. You have a 9-to-5, but that you are working on your, side business, working on your dream. You have a great amount of passion for it. You get up at 4 o'clock to go to the gym. I did that for like a 2-month period, and I quickly went back to, I was really trying to become a morning person. I'm going to do it again. It's just a work in progress. So I really admire that. I think that's great, especially at your age. So what is your ultimate goal with Devia, and you call it Devias Raw, right? Or is that what it's called?
Devias Naturaw, yeah.
Natural. So like natural and raw, is that like a combination of the words?
Yeah, right. I tried to be a little fancy there, but yeah.
Yeah. So is your ultimate goal to just kind of, spread this mission and build up this business?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It's just the ultimate goal is, yes, to spread the knowledge throughout so many people. because, it's a huge world. So as much people as I can spread the word out to, the better. And it's not for me, it's literally for them, because most people, they awaken something once they consume juices like that, or they're not used to it. And then something awakens in them that they're just like, oh my God, I can't believe I've been missing out on this the whole time. Something so simple that I could even whip up, in the morning. So it's like, it's just getting that out there and kind of just, like planting that seed, you know what I mean? Planting that seed in their head and just being like, what if I actually do stick to the most natural side and kind of leave that over the counter medication or that supplement or that dependable, So it's like the ultimate goal is to spread the knowledge and just let people know that, everything is found in fruits, veggies, herbs. So it really, I don't know. I really don't know how to build it up, but it's just to make an impact in overall health. Overall health, give them the dosage that they need to get through the day and as natural as possible.
Yeah. No, and I think, I look at it like there's so much information in this world. We're overloaded by information. It's so hard to know what's right, what's wrong. You gotta experiment for yourself. You gotta find out who you can trust. And I think that's harder now than it ever has been, because there's so much out there. And I look at it like I want to take the best of both worlds, and I want to connect communities. I want to like do it individually, but also promote that kind of healthy mindset where it's like I go to a gym where, we do the fasting and we have innovative workouts where we do very, very, like, you basically lift heavy weights in a fast fashion. So you're lifting heavy and you're up against the clock, which keeps your heart rate up. You're always drenched when you're done. Like, that's probably the best way to work out. Kind of like, I call it meathead bodybuilding athlete. You're hitting everything, like a gangster CrossFit. So, I want to take from there what I love and agree with, but then I also want to meet people like you. And it's like, okay, I want to try this vegan route. Some of my, my favorite athlete in sports, Chris Paul, went vegan, and now all of a sudden he doesn't get hurt as much. Like certain athletes I know have gone vegan, and they really are, it's given them a fountain of youth. They've talked about it. I've heard many athletes talk about it. So I look at it like I want to, it's great that we're having this talk, because I want to try this, and I want to be able to say to people that I know, it's like, hey, look, I got this information from this source, this information from this source, this information from this source, and I blended them all together because I need to have a little variety. And I again, you got to agree to disagree. And it's like, some people might say, hey, have the carnivore diet, and they might be really great, smart people. But if it doesn't work for me, and I don't have natural energy, and I can only do the carnivore diet if I also have all this caffeine. Is this gonna be good for me when I'm 45, 50, 60? Is this going to help my muscles as I get older? Or because I want to be playing with my grandkids when I'm 60, and I'm, and they're going to be 15, and I'm still going to be faster than them, when I'm 70, I got these visions, right? Like, I can't do that if I don't take care of my body now. So you can look a certain way when you're our age, but what are you actually doing to your body? And I think that's where I'm at. When
you're seeing these athletes too, most people are killing it at the gym. They're killing it at the gym. They look great on the outside, but then inside, when you're seeing them and you start to really get to know them, and they're just suffering from the inside, what's the point? You're literally killing yourself, like slowly but surely. And it's all about long-term, because what you're consuming now, you won't see the result. Maybe you will, but you won't see the results 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because that has a huge impact. For example, like those red meats and stuff like that, they may not affect you at a young age, but then later on you start to develop all these sort of problems and, like, let's say deficiencies and stuff like that. And it's because of the same intake that you had earlier when you were young and stuff. So it does take a huge, reaction to your body, like you said. So you want to be able to enjoy those years after and just kind of do it as clean as possible and connect as many dots and kind of investigate by your own means. But I would say, even when working out, when you're doing like a workout with a trainer, sometimes this is the thing that I really do hate seeing at the gym, is these trainers are training like 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, and they're doing like burpees and like doing backflips and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And they're just telling their client to do the same thing as if it was going to benefit them or if they can do it. You know, everyone's different. Everyone has to find their own thing and kind of connect the dots. Like you said, you know, take one thing, apply it. If it doesn't work, take another thing, apply it, see what works for you and balance everything out. Because if something does good for someone else, it's probably not going to have the same impact on you. But you got to like research or maybe maneuver around it and you'll find your outcome. And also, athletes, you know, two major athletes that everyone probably knows, Mike Tyson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, both vegan.
Really?
Yep. Mike Tyson, I think he's been vegan for like, I would say close to 15 years.
How did I not know that?
I don't know.
No, they hid it from us. All right.
Yeah, no, but seriously,
write that down.
Ever since he went on the diet, remember how he used to be so aggressive and he used to like talk so, you know, well, he's Mike Tyson. You can't really argue against it, but he said that he went on the diet and kind of started focusing more on his spirit, like his spirituality and stuff like that. He connected like some sort of dot, and he's the most changed person I think I've ever seen in my lifetime compared to like the videos that I used to see and everything as well. And seeing him now, it's crazy. The amount of energy that he has too. Like, for example, remember that fight that happened, like, I guess it was a year ago, 2 years ago, with the other major boxer. I forgot his name, but that other major boxer. And
Roy
like
Jones?
Yeah,
Roy Jones Jr., yeah.
Yeah, he was gassed out. And remember, his diet's completely different than Mike Tyson. And then a lot of people didn't vegan, but he was up and he's at the age that he has right now, and he was still going. He could go like another 12 if he had to. And then also Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's been vegan for, I don't know how long, but he said that he was like suffering from something, or I think I read something that he was suffering from something. He changed his ways, started eating more plant-based, and then developed the idea of just all plant-based. So like when you start to hear these stories from major athletes like that, you start to really consider, you know, should I start applying this at a young age? Should I start doing it now? Should I just try it out? And when you try it out and give yourself that chance, then you'll start to really, you know, I guess answer the questions that you have pending in your mind, because you won't know until you try it. So
yeah, no, I'm gonna that's good. That was a good promotion right there for veganism. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then
I don't know if you're familiar with have you watched that documentary Game Changers?
No, I've not. I've heard of it.
You should jot that down. I think they still have it on Netflix. It's for people who are looking to better their physique or kind of get like that knowledgeable content. It's a documentary about all these athletes and how, I guess, people who eat meat and stuff like that compared to an actual vegan, how they perform, their levels, their cholesterol level, everything. It compares the two. That's where I knew that Mike Tyson was vegan. I think Kevin Hart, I think he's vegan as well, if I'm not mistaken. There's so many like famous people, celebrities itself that are vegan and no one knows about. But that documentary, it's more about people who love working out and just like marathon runners, for example, marathon runners who used to just eat steak, chicken, turkey, or trying to like cut that like that healthy lifestyle and just start like sticking to like ground turkey and just more veggies. And then they noticed that they weren't performing well. As soon as they switched to plant-based, they actually started breaking records.
Wow.
And they relied like that natural energy. It was so light, the way that they burned calories. It was a completely different toll. But if you watch it, you're going to be like, oh my God, get out of here. You know, like it's bizarre. It's really bizarre. And it's so simple.
Simple. And yeah, that's definitely an advertisement for it. You know, after we're done here, I'm going to go eat the leftover chicken that I have, just because, you know, I don't want it to go to waste. But I've been thinking like, oh, Julio's going to be like, what is he doing? Hey, it's got good spices. But yeah, I definitely, and the other thing to your point is, you know, like I said, I got to commit to it. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to start maybe, you know, late July, something like that, when I kind of settled down. You got to be patient. Something that I've struggled with myself is that, you know, sometimes I'll go on a lifting program and then I'll go off it. It's like, no, you got to stick to it for a month, 2 months, 3 months to see the benefits. You got to stick with this. You were even talking about just a couple of weeks, but you really got to stick with something even, you know, a month, 2 months to really jot down how your body reacts to it. And
absolutely,
I just think it's great. We should all, it doesn't matter what, age or size we are. I think all of us, it's just in our best interest to try new things, at the gym and at home and what you eat. And, you got to have a cheat meal now and then, right?
I mean,
good for your mind.
Even as a vegan, it's a reward for yourself, from all the hard work. And most people, the thing that's holding them back is that decision making. Most of the times it's good, but other times it's just, that's what holds you back from so much success. So for example, people who are trying to work out or get into that habit of just going and stop thinking about it, the people who actually just act on it and just go and do it. Like, for example, let's say you wake up in the morning, but the night before you said, I'm going to wake up and do 10 push-ups and just start that routine in the morning to have like a better chest, this and that. And you start thinking about it. And then when you wake up, you're like, I'm too tired. No, I might damage my muscle. Or, once you start thinking about it, you're going to start steering away from it. People who actually just wake up and do it, they're the ones who actually have those success stories to share with everyone. But once it's that quick decision making, and stop prolonging it and stop making excuses. That's the number one advice that I'll give to people. Definitely stop making excuses and stop saying, I'll start on a Monday. I'm going to start on Monday. Just start right now. Start the day after. Start an hour from now. Get your body rolling. It doesn't have to have a start date. Once you start getting into that mindset, everything is going to prolong for you because you're going to wait until like a specific day.
And then last thing for real this time is that, you talk about just getting up and going. I think it's great that, you kind of get up every day with a mission, which is to, help the world with what you're bringing across nutritionally. And I think that's a great model. That's what I'm trying to do. I feel like I made excuses for not having a podcast years ago. Like I should have got in. I always wanted to do a sports podcast. I have another one called Raw Sports Debate with my great friend Leslie. And we just started that in March. And I was talking about starting that for years. And I overthought it. I was like, how do I get it going? And, I'm happy that I'm very happy and I'm very energetic to have that platform and then Unleashing Truth, because I use myself as an example. Again, I think it's great that you're at your age and doing that, and you wake up every day with that mindset. I now wake up every day with that mindset. And I think that's very healthy for all human beings. And especially men. I feel like men need to really have a goal. I think that's what drives us. And, my goal is to, what is my mission in life? And my mission in life is to, bring rationality back to sports debate. Yeah, that's part of it. But it was more so, I realized this year, it's like, it's to bring that back, bring logical, philosophical thinking back there and look at things in context.
Sorry,
it's okay. Yeah. And look at things in like nuance and context, and then translate that line of thinking to what we're talking about now, to talk about real important issues in the world, things that are often politicized. But I'm not political, but I talk about important issues that are politicized. And that's what we have to get back to as a society. And food, whether we realize it or not, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, like you were talking about with the plastics and the pods and what they put in the animals. Like I've gotten to a point now where I feel like my mission is to educate people that, hey, open your eyes and ears and figure things out on your own and never discount anything. Listen to everybody. Don't trust people who don't know you personally or don't have your vested interest in mind, and question everything. And I think that's a very healthy, it's an uncomfortable mindset sometimes. You don't want to go against the grain. You don't want to think that you're being deceived in terms of food and stuff. But I often go back to fasting. I'm like, fasting, there is nothing to be gained from a doctor, a nurse, pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies, if you naturally heal yourself. Exactly. And my goal is to spread that kind of thought process on trivial matters. And there's a reason that, hey, they're shoving certain people down your throat on sports. It's for marketing. It's you know, certain guys are better than other guys, but they don't want to give them credit because, hey, it doesn't help their marketing, you know? So that's what I'm about. My mission is, and that's why I love this conversation. Cause it's like, hey, like, let's get this kind of thought process and product, because you need to have product to go along with it, out there. Yeah. So is that what your goal is? Like to just kind of just spread positivity and energy and your products?
Honestly, yes. So for example, for my product, it's just spreading that positivity and not letting others tell you what to do. You know, it's like maybe they're doing their own thing and maybe it hasn't worked out for them, or maybe they're just not motivated. And then them being unmotivated, seeing you do good, what do you think they're going to say? There's always going to be something that they don't like. You know, there's always going to be something that someone in this world doesn't like that you're doing.
Right.
And you can't just let that, you know, affect you at all. You got to keep going with you got to know why you started with anything that you do. Why did you start doing it? You know, what's the purpose of it? And don't let that go. And that drive that you have consistently, like that grind, keep it with you until the end. And always think that there's no end. And if you get to a point, like let's say you reach your goal of losing 15 pounds and you got some muscle on you, don't let that be the end of it. You know, what's the other goal? And just keep going, keep building those goals for yourself. Never be content. That way you'll always have success in whatever you do, whether it's business, whether it's physique, whether it's health. And yes, the food itself in general, if you're working out, this is another statistical fact. I think it's 80% diet, like 80% diet, 20% workout. So if you really think about that, food has a lot to do with anything in life, whether it be health, whether it be motivation, anything. What you are is what you eat.
Yeah.
So if you take that along with everything that you do or anything that you consume, you'll start to really see the big picture and kind of think things differently. But my message, is to literally get as much health content as I can out there, letting people know that, you know, the doctor and just like those prescriptions and everything like that. That's all, in my belief, I think that's like part of like a little mafia and stuff like that. Because these organizations, they recommend these foods, but then these foods lead to these problems, and then these problems lead to the the solution of a doctor recommending you this product that you need again, and then it's like a whole cycle, you know. And in that documentary that I told you before, they explain that they literally have this organization, like this big food corporation, that for like, let's say as an example, for diabetic people, they recommend this meal throughout the day, or this lifestyle, right? They recommend it, but then when you go into their website again, they say that you should avoid these certain foods. So it makes no sense. And then that's when everything starts to click as to why are they recommending it if it's going to send me to the doctor? And then why is the doctor going to recommend me to eat this type of thing, but then this type of thing goes back to this? And it's just like back and forth. And then that's literally how society is. You know, you see these people and you see these, and it's all about money. So it's crazy when you really think about it. It's really crazy. And another thing too is, I don't know, it's just, there's so many things that I want to just spread out and let them be aware of the fact that, you know, times before, how did people survive for such a long time or on such natural causes, you know, just because they relied on fully grown stuff from the earth, or, you know, I know it was different times back then, but most people, when you go to like these foreign countries and stuff like that, and you really go into like these, I guess these mountains, you know, like those mountain people and stuff, like they rely on herbs, like natural herbs for any cure. You know, it's like you're feeling something, or like you go to like, as a tourist or whatever, and you see like these remedies, these home remedies, that's literally what they rely on. And you see those people, they're like the strongest people ever. Like their immune system is crazy. You know, they don't depend on any medication. They never tasted medication in their life. It's crazy. It's really crazy. And if we were to do that one person at a time here and just spread the word, can you imagine how different it'll be? It'll be a lot different.
Yeah.
And also the thing that you touched on, plastic, think about it this way, you know, where's the most popular place that plastic is thrown into?
Ocean.
What would you say? Yep. And then what's in the ocean? Seafood. All right?
Seafood.
So remember, literally, that too, and water. So, there's another subject. All right, I'll probably save it for next time.
Save it for next time.
Yeah. But
yeah. Oh, seafood.
Like
okay, I got you. Yeah.
Yes. these fish, they don't know what plastic is. They don't know anything. And then when they're consuming that and then they catch them and, they cut them up, you're consuming that plastic too, that mercury. It's a whole bunch of stuff down there that I can't even describe because we don't even know half of it, literally.
Yeah.
And then the other water it's called Kangen water. Definitely, research it and you'll see a huge debate between that, but it's like this Japanese machine that these doctors use on patients that lack alkalinity. So it's like live water. It's crazy. It's really crazy, but I'll touch on that next time.
All right. Well, Julio, it's been a pleasure. Devias Naturaw. I got that right? Devias Naturaw.
Right.
Looking for right there. There it is. Got the business card right here. It was great talk. We're going to do it again. I'm going to come visit you in about a month and get some of these juices, see how that works out. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
All right.